Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here. Now today I just wanted to do a short video for you guys, kind of giving you some pros and cons on using rollers versus using an indoor trainer. Now I have both. I've ridden both. I've spent a lot more time on my indoor trainers than I had the rollers. I want to start off this video with a couple of things that I don't like about the rollers. And the first thing is that it requires a lot of attention to be able to stay on them, basically, at least for me. Because with the rollers, basically the inertia of riding the bike is what's holding you upright. And it really takes a lot of concentration to make sure that you're staying in the, on the track of the rollers. And if you hit the sides, there's a high risk of falling off, basically, and I've fallen over numerous times on my rollers, especially if you're clipped in. If you're clipped in and you move just wrong or you hit the sides, odds are you're probably going to go over, and you can get hurt. I mean, people get hurt on rollers, so they require a lot of attention to ride on, and it can be hard to, focus so hard on trying to stay on track on those rollers, and trying to drink, and there's just so many distractions out there, and it's hard to even, at least for me, it was hard to even take a drink of water on the rollers, because when I would try to take a drink, I would hit the sides and I'd fall off the rollers, so they're very hard to stay up. I mean, I think the more you ride them, the better you're going to get. I would certainly recommend starting off, if you're going to ride rollers, riding them with just sneakers, flat pedals and just sneakers, until you build up your confidence on the rollers, and then maybe switch over to your clipless pedals. But they can be tricky to ride on. Getting water is difficult, at least it was for me. And another thing that I don't like about them, now I have the E-Motion rollers from Inside Ride. They're a good set, and they actually have the ability to, there's a magnet on those, and I can adjust by where I place this magnet. I can adjust how much pressure is on the roller, and it can actually increase resistance. And then, of course, you get your additional resistance through your gearing, through shifting gears. So my rollers do have the ability to throw quite a bit of resistance on. In fact, I would say probably as much as a trainer. I mean, certainly more than enough to give me a super duper workout, that's for sure. But a lot of rollers out there, a lot of different brands of rollers, don't have any way to increase the resistance, so you only get the resistance through shifting your gears. And although I've never tried a different set of rollers, the one complaint I have heard from other guys who've got rollers that don't have this magnet system or a way to increase resistance is that they can't do power workouts on them, because they can't. All they do is spin out, and they can't get their power numbers up high enough because they just spin out. So that's one other negative to the rollers. Depending on what model you get, you may or may not be able to put enough power into the pedals to get a good power workout if that's what you're looking for. But for me, in general, the things I don't like about them is, like I said, they're difficult to ride, requires a lot of concentration, and it can just be difficult to get water. If you were going to watch TV, it could be difficult to change the channel. There's some logistical issues with riding the rollers, for me anyways. And again, I haven't devoted a ton of time to riding them because I have preferred the indoor trainers. Now, a couple things I do think that they'd be good for rollers is they're good for working on your pedal technique, because like I said, you've got like about a 1.5 foot wide track that you have to maintain on, and it does make you, riding the rollers, definitely, it basically forces you to have good pedaling technique. So rollers are great if you want to work on your pedaling technique. They'd be great at warming up before a race. Say you're going to a race and you've got you want to get your 15-20 minute warm up in, and you don't have a lot of area to go out and ride your bike somewhere nearby. Rollers are good for that, because you can plop them out in the grass real quick, get a good workout in, get your good warm up in, and you'd be off and running. So I know I see those a lot at races. A lot of guys at races will bring their rollers for their warm up stuff. But I mean, in general, I think if you want to work on some pedaling technique drills, they're good for that. If you want to use them for warm-ups, they're good for that. But that's just my take on the rollers. I prefer the trainers just because I can, like I said, I can focus on the workout. I can focus on the workout as opposed to having to focus on staying upright. You know, because the trainer, you're locked into the trainer, and you know you can change your music channels, you can change your TV, whatever you want to do. You can get your water, you can read a book if you want, you can do anything you want because you're locked in, and you ain't going anywhere. And they're very safe, and they're great for power workouts because you know you can just increase your resistance until you can't go any harder. So I prefer the trainer personally. As you guys know, I recently upgraded here to the Wahoo KICKR. Love it so far. Feels really realistic to ride in the road. I love how the free hub and the flywheel just spins over and has a lot of inertia. So when you put a big hard effort in and you coast and you let up on the pedals, that flywheel just keeps ticking over just like it would on the road if you were out on the road. So I love the road feel of the Wahoo KICKR. I do have a set of the rollers. I don't ride them a lot. In fact, I don't think I spent an hour on this year. But I do have them in case I want to bring them to a race or in case I want to do some pedaling technique stuff or whatever. But that's just my take on the rollers versus trainer topic. I know some guys out there who were diehard, believer in rollers. And again, I'm not saying they're not bad. That's been my experience with them. And that's been my reasons for going to the indoor trainers as opposed to the rollers. So appreciate you guys tuning into the channel here, and I'll see you guys right back in the next video.